Why don't we take a roll call? Why don't we go around just for attendance? Bill, why don't you start if you want? Yeah, we just gotta do it virtually. We gotta actually do the attendance, and we'll do voting this way as well, just because we have one person virtual.
Bill Werner's here.
Yeah.
Teresa James here.
Oh, that might be.
What's the matter? You can sit anywhere you want. Tony won't fight you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is front and center.
Leah, are you here?
Yes. Oh, sorry, we're doing roll call.
Yeah.
Sorry. Leo Brown here.
Michelle Kirkby here.
Peter Michelson here.
Mike Weber here.
Robert Worth here.
Tony Papantonis here.
Bob Meany here.
Carolyn Casey here.
And Meredith, are you here?
Meredith Chamberlain here.
Loud and clear, great, thank you. All right, we got a couple people in attendance tonight, which is great. Thanks for coming. Why don't we do a quick vote of the last meeting's meeting minutes, and then we'll talk about site selection. That's kind of why we're here tonight. So did everyone get a chance to review the meeting minutes for August 7th? And if so, any comments? If not, I'll listen to a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Michelle Beecher. Bill, let's go around on that.
Bill Werner, yes.
Teresa James, yes.
Leo Brown, yes.
Michelle Kirkby, yes.
Peter Michelson, yes.
Mike Weber, yes.
Robert Worth, yes.
Tony Papantonis, yes.
Bob Meany, yes.
Carolyn Casey, yes.
John Messina, yes. And Meredith.
Meredith Chamberlain abstain.
Okay. All right. So most of our agenda tonight, with the exception of a couple of things, but what I really want to talk about tonight is the Dale Street location. So I think some people are here to talk about that. So Carolyn, do we have, are you in on this? I can promote you and you can share your screen, or
Oh, Lynn,
are
are you
Bill?
in?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Okay. I don't see you as a attendee.
If you hit
Nice.
one,
There you go. All right, I just promoted you. I think you should be able to share your screen. Meredith, why don't you just maybe,
sure, just,
or Bill, one of the two, yeah, one of you guys.
give it 1 minute to get up so people can see it.
You gotta want me to share my.
Make him a host. He could-
Try that, Bill.
I know. I felt the same.
No,
You're in the way. Okay.
it's
I don't know if this
big.
black box is.
Dude,
No,
that's, hang on, that's,
Is that you or me?
yeah, no, it's. Yeah, there you go.
okay. Let me,
Yeah, I'll just give a quick background. So generally speaking, we've been talking about site selection as something we can complete as a committee. You know, we've been meeting for almost 2 years now. And, you know, we first applied to MSBA for state funding. We found out last December that we were not approved last year. We kind of came to a decision to wait for 1 more year before we made any rash decisions to go ahead and try to build a school on our own. So that's, again, this November, December, we'll find out some information from the state on that. But in the meantime, we've been meeting and collaborating on things that we can do as a group to remain productive, really hash out what went wrong in the failed vote, years ago. Not so much to do things differently, yes, but also to really engage the community. We have this time to say, hey, let's get more people involved, and that's why a lot of people saw, notes in your mailboxes. Thank you, Meredith, for dropping those off. And as much as we can to get people here and hear their voice on what they want a replacement or renovation to look like, or rather where it should be. So one of the things that we can decide as a committee, without the state's involvement, is where our renovation or new school, where it should be. I know a large item in the last vote was that it shouldn't be at Wheelock, and that may be a good reason why it failed. We've done multiple surveys now, and this is what Bill has up here is the results of the most recent survey, so maybe you guys can talk about it now.
Sure. So we're trying to understand, where the strongest vote was for site selection. We spent time, a couple months, looking at all the possible site selections, and we ended up with basically the same two that the previous school committee did, which is Wheelock and Dale. And so we designed a survey to try to figure out, well, where's the majority of the vote going forward? And I want to be clear, it was just totally on where. It wasn't on what to do, new or renovating, it was just where. We had 4 forums in May on the same topic, site selection. And, we definitely had some people come to the forums, but it wasn't a huge turnout, so that's why we created this survey. And we got a great response. We got 1,105 responses. And we got some very good news for us out of the survey, starting with the fact that 97% of the people who responded support some type of school project. They recognize that Dale does need something. So then, if you took the survey, what happened is you were asked to put your preference for Wheelock or Dale. And once you did that, you got filtered down to other questions, so we could find out your second or third choices of where you would go. So when we put that all together, we took the people who chose Dale as their first choice, the people who said, I don't care where you do it, just give me a better school, and the people who chose Wheelock as their first choice, but for their second choice, they would vote for Dale. And that came out to 96% of people. That was our highest score. We also figured out if your first choice was Wheelock, and and some people's choice was either I don't care. And then the people who first choice were Dale but would support Wheelock, we put those numbers together. But that only came out to, I think, 71 or 72, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's 70.
Yeah.
Plus minus.
Yeah, so it was clear that going with Dale gets us the biggest support and vote. So we've been discussing the survey results for the last 3 months. The survey ended in July. We discussed it at July and, well, actually at the August meeting and then September meeting. And this is our last night of discussion. And we wanted to invite abutters to talk to us because Dale was the preferred area. We have other information in the survey that has to do with costs. We asked questions about, what kind of a school you wanted, what the cost would be. We don't have an exact cost yet, but so it's hypothetical. And we asked a little bit about new build versus ad reno. But again, we don't have any plans to show you. So once we had plans, then obviously we would have better data for what people really support and where they want to spend the money.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is like with close to 1,200 responses,
Yeah.
like this is a really good representation of what you would expect from the town. So we had essentially equal participation across all the precincts within town to take away for any bias according to like where you live. And it's, the data from the survey is pretty compelling that, 1, people want a new school and 2, people prefer the Dale Street site. So.
So that kind of leads us to tonight. So, typically I would like to open it up because, us as a committee have been discussing this for 3-4 months probably. The majority of us agree with the survey and, we'll get more into that as we vote, obviously. But, we're interested in moving forward, obviously, as fast as we can, but we also want to be very deliberate in what we do. Because probably moved on some things too fast the last time, so we're trying to learn from that, get more collaboration, outreach as best we can. But really what we'd like to do next in November meeting is to finally vote on the site selection and then, move forward from there, waiting, the state's MSBA verdict come end of November, December.
Can I say something?
Of course.
So I said something along these lines, I think it was 2 meetings ago, but I'm going to annoy people and say it again. First of all, Carol and the whole committee did an incredible job on surveys. I'm on the warrant committee, and I sort of bring a primary focus on cost. And I'm very worried that when people see how much this is going to cost, people are going to be pretty upset. And if we get into, God willing, the MSBA program, with its, God willing, $23 million, they're going to require us to do a feasibility study to look at different locations, like, cost out Dale, cost out Wheelock, cost out Metacomet, other locations that are at least potential. And I'm throwing out a hypothetical here, if there's a hypothetical where some good architect or planner comes up with a proposal that here at Dale it's going to cost 97 million, and at Wheelock it's going to cost 88 million, I think that's something to consider. And I know I just mentioned Wheelock, I'm probably going to get my house burned down. But that concerns me, because this is going to cost the town. This is the biggest project the town will have ever undertaken. If we don't get into the MSBA program, which is not a good result, but one that is at least a possibility, then I think we can pick any site we want. We're going to, I presume, I don't know, that we're going to go it alone. And then if we want to say we wanted a Dale, then we vote for Dale and have at it. But I'm sort of thinking, out of an excess of caution, wait until we hear from the MSBA, at which point we're going to have to do this, broad-ranging feasibility study and find out what its results are. I raised this before. Nobody seemed super impressed with it then, but I'm raising it again because I know there's lots of concerns about this, but cost is sort of topmost in my mind.
As a town, we can decide where it goes, whether we have to do due diligence on other sites or not. I'm 99% positive of that. But again, I do think we all share the costs issue. You know what I mean? So, being in construction, and Tony, you know this probably better than I do, the difference of a new site here versus a new site at Wheelock is the demolition of a building as far as costs, right? So there are costs there, sure,
Yeah.
but then there's utility differences as well. Other than that,
Well, that's pretty simple. And I think here, unlike Wheelock, the infrastructure's better,
right?
from a cost standpoint. So, I mean, it's really going to be roll up the sleeves and work with the design team and try to value engineer the project as best we can.
Can I just ask, Jeff, would the MSBA make us do a feasibility in Wheelock? I didn't think they would if you had to. Yeah, so I get if they would, Pete, that would be a worry, but I don't think they make you do that on other sites. If you say your project is going to be a Dale, the town's decided that.
Yeah, I'm looking for the old stuff
Yeah, and
now.
I think based on a lot of the work that was already done, we can already tell like percentage difference of what it's going to cost between both sites based on the work that's already been there. So if we knew, I thought there was to everyone's point, I think there was a considerable amount of site work to be done for the site, including there was some new line, Mike, right, that was running up that street from South Street.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
had to be done as well.
Yeah, it was a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, Pete, I think it's a point well taken. But that said, if 90%, 96% of the town wants it at Dale Street, it's our job to make it look as inexpensive as possible to get it at Dale Street, is my feeling. You know what I mean? So, but I appreciate the comment, and I want you to keep bringing it up, because it's important to keep noting it. But I do think that that's kind of where we're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, listen, like, listen to town feedback, we'll vote the next meeting. Like, it's a preferred path. Like, some bizarre scenario where it's double the cost, and the town comes back and says, no, we don't want to pay double, then you're gonna have to reopen the discussion. But, until then,
But that's a worst case scenario, right?
yeah, I think it's,
Lose another 2 years, God help us.
I don't think it would be.
yeah, I don't,
We can move faster once we have some money and we have deadlines in front of us.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at. So since you guys are all here, there's some people tonight which is great. I thank you for coming. I'm sure most of you came to speak and for us to hear you. So I would love to hear from you. And John, yeah, please.
Doug John, 134 North Street, side of our property. In terms of the build new versus from a aesthetic and historical perspective, I really like to see the 1940s buildings kept in some form or fashion, just simply beautiful. However, from a taxpayer fiscal side of things, I do realize that if the cost to renovate personally, the other is around the state funding. I would like to see a combination. I feel a lot of financial things within towns tend to be very siloed. There's, as we all are aware, there's paid for the Parks and Rec. Well, anyway, those two could be tied together in the same project, right? Two separate siloed projects. That would be great. State money from the state, if that comes through, prevents that.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
You just touch on your last point. If we are accepted into the MSBA program, none of the park and rec would be funded by the state at all. Whether there's a cost benefit or not for the town to spend additional dollars at the same time with maybe the same general contractor or construction manager, is something that, we could look at. So,
So basically, the state money would only be usable for the school. Combining projects, we just wouldn't use the state.
yeah, I would tell you, combining is probably a strong word to use. I would say they would have to be very different buckets of money and different, maybe even different owners, project managers at that point, but we would have to get to that point. But there may be an economies of scale to do, two at once, but being in the world, I mean, you're talking for small percentage points. Now, future cost of dollars to do it now as opposed to 5 years down the road, that's a different story. Yes, it's cheaper now, but
I think on that, if the gym was built, if the gym was built and it was proposed to be shared by Parks and Rec and the school, that's what states this time out, we're only funding 100% for school versus if the new building had a dedicated gym just for Parks and Rec and the gym was built for the school, was 100% just for the school, that keeps it clean.
I don't know that answer specifically, but my gut tells me that if the gym was part of the school and in the school only, and we wanted to use it as a town, however we felt after it was built, then the state would still fund, their portion of it. If it was connected in any way or something like that, then my gut tells me that that would be kind of a no-go.
One question regarding MSBA. Seeing that we're here in mid-October, and in past years, the state kind of gave an inkling somewhere around October, November, as to what direction they might be going. Have we been keeping the state in step with what we've been doing to give them the strong inclination that even though we may not have done a public vote yet, you've gotten so much feedback that it's certainly leaning one way. So you're proving to the state that you are trying to get a unified voice, and it's not as much of a mystery if they were to come forward and say, we do support you because we're confident that you've got this going in the right direction with avoiding a split vote.
Yeah, it's a great question. Jeff, do you want to help us
We
with that?
sent an update to MSBA in September to let them know where we were in terms of all the surveys that SBC has been doing, all that information to give them an update. They responded right back that day. They said, thanks for letting us know. We'll put it in the Medfield file. So we've been doing.
And we did have a meeting with them, heck, probably May-ish. It was a Zoom meeting. It was very informational, but, they heard what we were doing as a committee. They asked us a couple questions. What they don't want to see is failed votes, right? And we told them everything that we were doing to try to get the community behind the project. So I felt really good coming out of that meeting, but obviously there's no guarantee.
Mike, I can speak to the combined projects. We did a project, an MSBA project, where an early childhood center was combined with a middle school, but it had to be extremely specific on the section that was the early childhood, and all the financial parts of that had to be separate, even though it was housed in the same building, and that was not reimbursed. So all the quotes and all the trades all had to separate that work out in order to do that, but it added a layer of complications for sure. But it was possible, but it was planned together from the inception. So, whereas that's not, so far not the case here, would have to be part of the process.
Anybody else that's here tonight want to talk about site selection specifically, or any comments about the project? No? You want, well, that's perfect. Yeah, are you a neighbor?
Better to redo an existing building that is solid. But the main building is totally solid. It's much cheaper. Usually, I don't have all the finances work with the state.
Sure.
To fix a good, solid building than to tear down. Tearing down causes all kinds of ecologically awful situations. It's one of the best buildings in town. And you're talking 2 grades. Let's find a different spot or move them around. I mean, when I was here and my kids went here and I went here, okay, I went here 4 and 5, so did my kids. And I went to the junior high, which was new. And, we had to stay an extra year. They move grades around. You only get 2 grades to really worry about. This is a beautiful building. Most of it's great. Maybe the last edition is not so wonderful. Maybe even this new second edition, whatever, second, third, is not that great. But the main building there should not even be an inkling of tearing that down. It needs work, I know. I've been here, I've worked here, I know what this building is. And we have to have construction around Adams Street. I live right down the road. Okay, let's fix it. You can't tear down that main section. You can't. I'll be sleeping on the lawn. I mean, this is a beautiful building. And I read the latest energy efficiency, and this was 3rd on the list as far as energy and efficiency. It's better than Wheelock. It's better than the old junior high, which is now the high school. I mean, this is a gorgeous building. And I don't know whether you can find another use for it, community center, what, I don't know. We have a beautiful senior center. We have an absolutely awesome library. We have beautiful things in this town. I'm not sure we need a community center. We have Belforge. But, I mean, the FAF Center and Park and Rec, they don't need this huge building and all this space. They don't. I mean, they can't even paint their front door half the time. So I'm just, no, don't tear down that main building. Tear down this, tear down the other thing. But don't tear down this building. There's got to be a way. Whether this is even working.
No, I think it's for the cable access, so yeah, perfect, thank you.
I don't.
It's not for us, yeah. Thank you for your perspective, we appreciate that. We'll certainly keep that in mind. Thanks. Anything? No? Good. Anybody else while we're on the topic of site selection? Yeah, please.
Taylor Bowman, 658 Main Street. I guess my question would be, knowing what you know now and the commentary or generally lack thereof tonight, is there a rationale to just vote today?
Only because it's not on our agenda? No.
Okay.
Right? So, thank you.
Can it be added?
What's that?
Can it be added?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know the
have a hard time
procedure, but
changing
just
these.
the
Team would get so mad at me if I change this agenda.
the procedure versus the practical is, I don't want to get in the way. That's why I sit here and not there.
I appreciate that.
I'm Yumi Jones at 134 North Street. I just wanted to add something to what my husband said. So Dale Street School is, a little sentimental value because our son, when that was his classroom and everything. But I would support, like different site. But the only concern is that what are we gonna do about this building? Right? So that could cost associated about $10 million, $20 million. Take it down, or do we use it, renovate, reuse for something else? It's gonna cost, town some money. Plus building, so like, I don't know, I don't understand the process and everything, but that's something that in my mind, because we live here, right? So we don't want to see this building deteriorating, and then nobody's gonna be here, and then it's just that will be our concern, and then also the could affect property value.
Sure.
Behind it.
Yeah, no, that's a super valid point. That was one of our main criticisms when we tried to go with WeWalk in the last. So absolutely valid, and certainly, we've been talking about that as well.
Right. And so, and I'm very excited to be part of, I'm going to try to participate, these building committee meetings, because last year I didn't have a vote, but this year I have a vote. So, but the building, Dale Street, we took a tour, and then, Dr. Marsden told us a lot of, things that we didn't know. And so it's, I encourage people watching this, video that, next tour, to come into the next tour, and then, see for themselves, especially that, they, thinking about, against the school, building school, because this building is beautiful and then could be used, but there are places that are just unbelievably bad.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris Potts, 7 Curve Street. Just a really very basic question. Do we know, maybe Jeff can answer this, if MSBA has reached out to us yet about the school study that they started? Have you heard from them yet?
They reached out to us and they said they're going to start.
Okay.
Is that the rating system that they did years ago?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I was on the MSBA website, and it hasn't been updated for a while, and they were going to be posting sort of the schedule of what was the next step, and it seems pretty out of date, so.
What were they rated, like 1 through 9, or bad, very bad, like adequate? I forget. Do you remember how the ratings went? Chris?
I think it was like a 5-point scale rating,
5 point,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
We were the lowest. Dale Street was the lowest.
Some categories we were, and some we weren't.
And do you guys know when it was done?
2017, I think.
Do you know when it was done last?
2017 or
Not
18,
like
I think.
done pre-COVID. Like
Oh, yeah, it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Well, please, like, raise your hand if you're here and interrupt us if there's more comments or questions as we move on to the meeting. And if you said your piece, by all means, like, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Let's get into the communication subcommittee update, and why don't we wrap that in with Medfield Day?
Sure.
Talk about that a bit.
A big thank you to all of the community members who did stop by our.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
The new building on Elm. We already had issues there with the Hannah Adams house. Which is and the building around that. We have the open space land around Blue Rock. I don't know the answers to all of this, but it seems like there's wetlands and historic issues and all kinds of different problems with even thinking about building something humongous on Elm Street. I mean, is anybody thinking about that?
Yeah, so just to, sorry if I cut you off there, but
No, that's
yeah, we certainly thought about that heavily. It'd be a very easy site to build on. It's a greenfield site. Yes, it's in an aquifer protection area, but so is Dale Street. Traffic study, we actually didn't do a very good traffic study last time, so that might be an issue that we didn't look at well, because that was COVID was going on. But generally speaking, it's actually a very simple site to build on. There are no utilities in the back where the school was proposed to be last time, so that would cost a fair amount of money to get them there. But from a building standpoint, very easy. Doesn't make it my first choice. It's just still, as far as like putting a building up in a field, we had we had some historical studies done there with samples of soil and all that good stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that was looked at that I'm confident that a building could be built there. On a personal level, I don't think it's the best idea for the town, but that's just, yeah.
Okay, but everybody is thinking along those lines. Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you listen to our last meeting, we had a very lengthy discussion on sites. And, to a person, we all think that, we want to do what the town wants. And the town says basically 96% of the respondents said we're turning Dale Street. Tonight's meeting, and the neighbors, you guys specifically that are here, we're going to vote last month. And then our former moderator, Scott, came to our last meeting and had a great idea and said, what's the difference if you vote make it one more month, invite some neighbors? Because candidly, the neighbors are going to be impacted the most on a Dale Street construction job, whether it be a renovation or a new project. So we wanted to hear from you.
I know that a construction.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to put up with that, say good strong.
Great, thank you. Carol, let's do that. Oh, yeah.
Hi, Mary Meadows, 144 North. I've heard you mention twice 96% of the town, but 96% of what number?
Survey respondents, I'm sorry.
So 1,185.
Excuse me?
1,185 people responded to the survey?
1,200, yeah.
So 96% of that.
That's
so
correct,
not
I'm sorry.
of the town.
That's correct.
Because the town is
13,000, but how many voters is
13,000.
that?
So that's really not a useful number.
I do a lot of surveys in my business with you get a sample of that many, like over 1,000, and then it'd be hard for it to put this way.
It's one, less than 1%.
It'd be hard for it to have 96% of like 1,200 be unified, and then have the other population be completely in the other direction, which has never happened from a sampling perspective. So it's
Yeah, I
actually a
get
pretty
that.
representative sample of what the town thinks as a whole.
Or that the town doesn't care because they didn't fill out a survey.
Sorry,
Or the town doesn't care because they didn't fill out a survey. So, because the survey went to 13,000 people.
The survey went to as
It
many
was-
people as we could get it to, so I'm actually not aware of how many people it went.
I think Carolyn had a good explanation yesterday about what the 96% is really made out of. If you want to explain that yesterday, Carolyn, I thought you did a great job about
Yeah,
the choices. It
Right.
wasn't one or the other, and it was 96%. It was like,
right.
why don't you
So
explain?
So as I said earlier, so 96, there's 3 ways you could choose an answer from the survey. You could Wheelock first, Dale first, or you don't care, just give me a school. And so when we run those 2 scenarios, 96% of the people said they would support Dale. There's people who support anything. There's first choice Dale, and there's first choice Wheelock, but those people said they would support Dale, even though they're not getting their first choice. And out of that survey group, and then the second popular result was that first choice Wheelock, any place, and then first choice Dale, but I'll support Wheelock if you don't give me my first choice. But that was only 70% of the respondents. So from the survey, it was clear that, trying to get a yay vote, picking Dale, you're going to have more people in the community behind you. One of the things we did a year ago, we had another survey with 1,100 people. We asked them how they voted last time. Yay, nay, or not at all. And then we asked them why. And then we've been analyzing the reason people voted no last time. Location was one reason people voted no, but cost was very important. Leaving this building unattended was very important. In the enrollment study, some people thought they didn't like the enrollment study. So what we've been doing for the last year and a half is looking at all that first data and one by one trying to analyze it and figure out how we could bring all those no people to a yes vote. And location is one piece of that. And I've learned a lot from Bill because his job is statistics and studies and surveys. And, the number of people we got and the results, even if you had 3,000 people, right, Bill, would basically not going to change it.
So, I mean, I think it's hard to see right from where you're standing, but like, think of this, like Carolyn said, it was a little bit of a waterfall. So, like, roughly 30% of the people said, I'm fine with either side. Whatever you guys decide is good, I'm good with either. Okay? That's 30% of the population. And then about 50% of the population said, like, I prefer Dale. And then the remaining 20% said, I prefer Wheelock. But of that 20% that said, I prefer Wheelock, about 80% of those people said, I prefer Wheelock, but I'm okay with Dale too. And so it gives you a pretty good perspective that even the people that like prefer Wheelock would still be okay with Dale Street, where you didn't have that same kind of positive bias when you did that same waterfall towards the Wheelock site. People who said, I want Dale first, they said, I don't want Wheelock second. I want Dale. But people who said, I want Wheelock said, yeah, but I'm probably okay with Dale too. And so it leads you to this kind of collective bias around Dale's okay, like Dale would be supportive, and Wheelock would be a lot harder.
And then what was the breakdown for renovation or build? Was there, I think there was a question.
So there was, it's in the data. So essentially of all the responses, it was about 1,000 of the, we took out some of the unsure responses, but so out of 1,145 responses, 1034 said I'd be for a new build, and about 900 said, I'd be for an ad rent. And so it's really close in terms of that data. And the reason why those numbers don't add, but because some people are saying, I'm fine with either. And that's actually the majority of people said, hey, I'm fine, I just want the project to get done. And so it's close enough, right? And I don't want to speak for Mike, but as we get into like the next phases of the project, right, we're gonna have to look at both. We're gonna have to evaluate them, and we're gonna have to have these meetings in town and discuss them, and ultimately come to, you know, the conclusion of what's the right balance between functioning costs, what the town wants, and then, you know, ultimately people will have to the ability to weigh in and hopefully get your consensus, whatever you think is the best project.
So that gets to, sorry if I'm
No, good, nope, fine.
not my skill. So you have to get the town to agree. You can't just make a good, solid decision and do it.
And that's why we're here.
I mean, so I think if you're asking,
Because it seems like a lot of time, a lot of,
yeah. So what we don't want is a failed vote, and what we don't want is a bad project that costs, or a project that costs too much money.
right.
Right, so, I'm of the opinion that this group here would make solid decisions. I'm of the opinion that we would make much better decisions with input from the town. And the more people that come and speak to us, weigh their opinions, the more we have to listen to. So,
But at what?
it's twofold.
timeline?
Yeah, so really, our timeline, you know, currently, we're still in this kind of waiting game for MSBA, right? When we find out yay or nay, we need to make a decision as a committee and as a town if we want to try to build a school on our own, whether that be an ad reno or a new school. And regardless if we're in MSBA, we want to build an ad reno or a new school, right? And then what are the costs for that? So both of them almost take the same trajectory after that decision's made by MSBA. Then we move forward, hopefully we agree, we think we need to move forward with a new school, can't wait for the state anymore. We say yay or nay, you know, how do we do this?
Just for the process of MSBA, you have to apply before April, but they don't tell you to December. So we applied a year ago and got turned down. And we're waiting now for this December, but we may get a no or we may get a yay. And then immediately in January, depending where the answer go, we're in and we move ahead, but with those decisions, or we say, do we want to self-fund?
Just to pay for all of it ourselves.
Yes.
So what do you get from MSBA?
A percentage of the building cost,
Right.
What percent?
about 23 to 27%, depending on what you do.
Right, thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Back to Medfield Day.
Sure.
So I just wanted to thank everybody in the community who stopped by the booth. We did have a lot of visitors. It was a nice day. And people had a lot of interesting questions to ask, and they enjoyed looking at the pictures of Dale. And many people said, that looked like when I went to school at Dale. So, you know, we had a lot of discussions about the process, just like we're doing now. And we brought people up to date, and we took their questions. And we, you know, got some people signed up for tours. We did a tour yesterday. We had 15, so we did 2 groups tours. And, you know, in general, I thought it was a very positive day. People said, look, we're behind you. You know, we want you to get the school something done for Dale. We know it's in bad condition. And people also had some very positive things to say about the process. That, you know, they appreciated that we were doing surveys and asking questions, and that all our meetings they could come to or listen to. There were some people who didn't know much about what we were doing. There were a lot of people who were new to town and very young kids who obviously, they're the ones who will benefit from Dale, a new school. So we brought them up and kind of asked everybody to just stay in tune and stay in touch so you know what's going on. Because once December comes and goes, we'll be on a much faster track than the last year and a half. And we'll need people, so. And I thank everybody here people came and filled in and brought stuff and everything, so thank you to the committee.
I just like to interrupt and say Carolyn was awesome. She was there at 9 in the morning and stayed till after 4 in the afternoon. A statue should be erected in her honor.
Right where the tent was, right?
Wherever the tent
Yeah,
was,
right,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for all of you guys for handling that. Let's go back to the tours real quick. There's been some feedback from Dale Street parents in regards to our tour during the day, which we as a committee thought was a great idea. I believe you guys are getting maybe a little heat on that, and I'd like to either if there's not a lot of people signed up, what I don't want to do, we have 3 people signed up. We either offer it at night and take it away from the day. I'm only.
Yeah, we thought it made sense not to do it for the day after feedback. I mean, I think, I spoke with one parent through email, and I think, Steve and I would both be there. Steve actually asked our police liaison officer to be there as well, so we tried to have it all covered, but folks, if I'm comfortable with that, fine. We just do after school.
It's fine, right? I mean,
Not a big deal.
we can still see the school afterwards, whether it be core checks or just general distractions. That's the last thing we want to do to the students.
And I don't know when those people signed up, if they signed up just because they couldn't make yesterday, and it was the only other date was the 16th, or they really wanted to be there during the day. But I gave the names to Jeff.
Reach out.
All right, that's actually where I was going.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. There were 3.
3 people had signed up for next week.
So that makes sense. And on the day one.
When you guys decide, I'm happy to repost that on Facebook, and then maybe we'll get a few more people. Okay. I'll repost that again.
Part of the building, but certainly not all of it. Probably. Yeah, opportunity just to reach more people. I mean, I think that's kind of what you guys
Yeah.
do.
It's our next agenda topic.
Sort of a 2-minute video, something that would be more shareable for those who aren't going to be able to. A bit of marketing on how bad it is.
Mm-hmm.
That there's folks that might think, well, they appreciate how hard that might be. I think that might play something. Or inform that conversation.
So I'm gonna say, I was lucky enough back in, but I got a tour during the day with Jeff and I have to say, seeing all the kids and the movement, that matters. So it's a way to do the video, because then I was lucky enough that Jeff and Carol took me over to the new school in Westbrook to then show people what a new layout, what 2024 looks like, this new design. Because then when you start to sell the bodies, you can see how you can shift them and how even with having added space for maybe special needs or one-offs. But I get trying to do the tours hard, especially if the parents are concerned about during the day. But if there's a way to record, people can see what this looks like at lunchtime, kind of what the quarters look like down there, and then go to Westwood to see what their quarters look like for the 4th grade wing, the 5th grade wing, how they can move walls, how things can be shifted. And it just makes sense when you start looking at whether it's in reno or new build, you can start to see what can be done.
I think that, can I just build on that? I mean, I think, Steve, you did a great job showing us around. I think what I heard but didn't hear live was how loud this is for students. I mean, there's a classroom, there's a classroom, there's a classroom, kids are in here at lunch. Like, we talk about bands practicing in the vestibule, there's special ed practice, room behind the stage, it just felt like everybody was being crammed in as tight as they could, and that was hard to, it was pretty easy to appreciate with no one here, but with folks here, I can just imagine how much more of a difference it makes.
That's exactly what I wanted to do there. And now we have.
We had to move a classroom. They're now in the library on the main space. We had all of the classes, so we built the whole wall and then used the roof replacement.
So the 15-year-old modulars that were temporary, and 25 years old, one of them now, roof failed. So, which is bound to happen in a modular classroom that's not made to be turned everything. So let's talk about that a little bit. Are we good with anything else for communications? Because I really like that talking point.
Yeah, no, unless anyone had a question at this
Anything
point.
else? So Christine brought up something on constant contact and adding an additional Twitter account. Christine, I know you've been talking a little bit more about this that I haven't been quite privy to, so I'd love to hear from you a little bit on maybe how we can reach some more people, and then maybe we could talk about Taylor's point in regards to marketing.
I think one of my concerns is that we're not really reaching everybody directly. We have some great secondary sources, we have great people sharing our information, but people aren't coming to the SBC website. And I'm sure all of you are signed up for the notifications because you're on the committee, but we only have 16 people signed up that get the direct notification when we post something on the website. So I started thinking over the last month or so, we need to put out as much information as possible. We need to make it as easy as possible for people. So I went back and looked at what we did for the Medfield State Hospital project. And people are more apt to give you their email than actually go to the website and sign up for what they need. They want to just give it to you, have you do it. So I started looking into what they did. Constant Contact is great. It integrates with Canva, which we already have with Town Hall. So I think it makes it much easier. The committee doesn't need me to post anything for them, not this is about me, but they can do that all on their own. They don't need approval from me to get it on the website. I think it makes it much easier, but it's $1,000 for the year, which I think to get as much information out as we can, it's definitely worth the $1,000, but I need your approval in order to do that.
Where are we going to get the contacts filled?
So we're going to start asking people to send us their emails. You have a lot of them already. We're going to ask people to give us their emails. And we have some on Medfield Day. We have some from the website.
You got some from the forums?
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong in this, I wouldn't want to do this, but you can put in email lists and people can unsubscribe.
Yeah.
So that's another way to do it is to, send out a thing saying, this was Medfield School Building Committee, and, we got your email, and you can unsubscribe. You just check it like anything else. I'm sure we've all had those when we unsubscribe. But if people want it, then that's great because we just reached a lot more people. And Christine did some great demos, taking things that we just put on the Facebook and the town website. You make it once, you send it out, and it goes through all the places rather than, reposting everything. And,
And
So we'll all use the same colors we've already used, the same logos. But that's one of the things David Medfield Hospital communication strategy is so successful. Was that once a week, you knew you were going to get an email from them with your information, which I think is great. And I think, we're going to reach a decision point in December, whether it's going MSBA or if it's going self-funding. We're not going to have time in December to make the decisions about how to better do our communication strategy. We really need to have that.
This is actually a question for Jeff. Would you feel it's appropriate, and if you don't think so, you should say so, if we set up this constant contact thing, to send an email to all parents saying, we want you to be aware of this, and could you send your email to this so they can.
So you can send a link and they will directly be able to sign up.
And that would be an appropriate use of town email. Okay, yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and Leo, to your question, like at the Medfield State Hospital, it didn't start out with just one big list. We started out with, it was a constant sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up. Every message that went out was sign up for the newsletter, sign up for, it's whatever the message was, it's a sign up for the newsletter. It's a constant gathering of getting people listed. Yeah, so it's something that grows over time.
We're really excited about getting more information than not. If we don't, let's move back on it. Yeah, we'll ask everybody to.
So with that constant contact account, does it have to be dedicated? Do you envision using it for other town purposes, or does it have to be dedicated just for?
Dedicated to this project.
And we do have money for
Oh, yeah, I think it's a
these type of
no-brainer. I mean,
things.
it's short dollars. I use something similar at work. It works really well. At what point do we actually hire, or think about hiring a third party? Because it's been suggested before and.
Most OPMs will have a marketing team that goes with it as well, right?
Yeah, I could tell you the OPM we had last time didn't.
Yeah.
No, I mean that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No, so I do think it's not yet, but I do think we need to have that in our heads as well. We need 67% of voters that show up on voting day to vote for a school whenever we get to that point. It's a lot of money, whether we do it ourselves or not. Like, there's not a discussion maybe for today. I think it's probably too early. But I know it's been, I know you, Chris, brought it up. I know someone else in the committee has brought it up as well. Like, it's not a full-time job, but it's worth dollars and cents to get the message out there, to make it consistent, because what I think we're doing is really good stuff, but I agree, we're just not reaching enough. And that's hard for us, right? Go ahead, Bob.
So for our agenda, under expanded social media discussion, can we vote $1,000 tonight and be done with it?
I think we can.
Does that fit under that?
It does. It's on the agenda.
I make a motion that we support the initiative to endorse a subscription to Constant Contact for our school building committee project.
Second.
Bill Werner, yes.
Teresa James, yes.
Gail Brim, yes.
Michelle Kirkby, yes.
Peter Michelson, yes.
Mike Weber, yes.
Robert Worth, yes.
Bob Meany, yes.
Carolyn Casey, yes.
John.
Yes, Meredith Chamberlain, yes.
Thank you, Christine, for bringing that.
Christine,
Great idea.
obviously you're valuable to the town, but obviously to us too, so thank you. Yeah, we need more ideas like this, and again, I do think, this is probably just a start. And, marketing, there's a million different ways to market. I don't think we need to sell anything. I think what we need to do is give back figures and data and things that we're already doing, and drive feedback. So
just on that point, because the communication subcommittee is meeting tonight when we are done.
Yep.
And this is on our agenda. Just the nitty gritty piece of it. You know how we always do an update, we do the video, and we post to Facebook. So what we've been trying to do, we get this account up and running, is posting more frequently. So if everyone's okay with that, because we don't meet enough for me to check in every time. It's not gonna ask and just.
as far as I'm concerned, as the
Okay with that?
communication subcommittee, you have the ability to handle our communications.
Okay.
So thank you for asking. But
Yeah, just want to make sure that, and then anyone who, if you come up with an idea and say, hey, I think you should, post this through it, just let me know, and then, so they can get it. Christine made a couple of really cute templates. They just have our banner we've been using, picture of Dale Street right here, and then we just fill in. So we'll just keep using that every time we send something out, and everybody will recognize, oh, I know this is SBC. But if you have something or know something, or, Jeff does or whatever, then, just send it out and keep driving the email sign up thing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thanks, Christine.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do anything, but sure.
Anybody from say committee, you should have done this.
Yeah, that's fair.
So oversight.
And with the constant contact, it'll just post automatically the same as that. Please.
Whatever we post
Goes all
Goes
all
to all of
platforms.
our possible avenues that we set up.
Perfect.
Does this mean I have to get a Twitter account?
The school committee webpage too, because you guys often repost on Facebook on your school committee thing, and you could also,
We have a large parent presence on Facebook, so
yeah.
probably one of our most, I would say.
I would say Instagram's actually, I think,
Instagram,
more utilized now than Facebook, but yeah,
Stay connected.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, and if you guys feel like an Instagram's account is, then go for it, sure.
Videos.
Yeah, speaking of videos, and back to Taylor's point, I'm not sure how parents would feel about, us videoing their kids running around the school, but we do another tour. Maybe we, because no one will be here at the time. Maybe there's some
Film it.
pictures and videos and stuff that we can take that are a little bit more. The ones that we had at Medfield Day were taken back in 2018, probably.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, how about a picture of the modular that's not in use right now? Right? Things
Right.
like that, like things that really matter.
I suppose we could film it,
Or at least,
and then I could cut it, because it's long, so I could film it and cut it and,
or like even 10-second videos and then splice them together for a
Yeah.
30-second spot or something like that, because at a minimum, I agree with what you're saying in regards to, I've walked this probably 4 or 5 times. 3 of my kids have gone through here.
I think you got to think about purpose and timing, right?
Yeah.
It's like right now it's great, but like we're not making a decision on anything today.
Might be nice to have, though.
Yeah, like so you want to build momentum, but like
Yeah, that's good too.
I don't know that putting the picture of a broken module is good. Like,
No, but if we had some pictures now, when it gets to time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? This is what happened in October.
Video with the rain coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it should be our first constant contact. I mean, the rest of the public, like if you're in the schools, you probably know about that. Maybe I'm out of the loop, but
I would be balanced with you guys. Like I don't want Steve to get 1,000 phone calls. There's a
Right.
balance between educating people and causing a panic.
that's true. True.
Yeah, maybe the time is not right for that.
But to have that
You're
stuff.
not yet at a point where you're trying to why is this thing really need to,
Yeah.
like that's a ways on.
I actually think that we've convinced most of the, I think most of the public understands that's it's needed. I really do.
that was the one
That was
thing.
pretty clear. I read all the responses on
Yeah.
the verbatims on the survey today and then before. That was pretty clear.
Yeah.
Like, I think people were very supportive. And there was a lot of just get it done now.
I know. We all want to move faster.
There wasn't one person at Medfield that said, oh, it seems okay to me. Nobody said that. Everybody said the same thing. Yeah.
It was pretty.
That building's embarrassing. You should be doing something. But everybody was very supportive and understood
Yeah,
age.
just
So
the
Mike,
deliberate process that we're doing is,
so speaking just quickly to the process and, so next meeting, we are having our vote on the site selection.
I would like to, yes.
Yes. Then that puts us into November. We expect to hear from MSBA December, right?
Last year, I think it was late November, but anyway, yeah.
Right?
Hopefully
So-
before our December meeting, but
Yeah, that would be
Right.
good.
And so then what do you see as like our driving next decisions or next actions that we can take?
that's a really good question. It heavily depends on MSBA. So if that's an approval, it's actually all laid out for you.
Right.
Okay. If it's not, we meet in December and we have a discussion on, do we want to do this alone? And we set up time to talk to the public about that and we vote on it as soon as possible. Then, we've talked about the MSBA versus not MSBA. The one thing that non-MSBA building would do is that you control your own timeline, which means you can certainly go faster. I think we said it was about 6 months on the time frame of a 2.5-year project-ish. Is that what we had? Yeah, so
Yeah.
but there's still, it's the same steps we're gonna take. feasibility study, hire an architect, hire an OPM, you know what I mean? Like, do those things, maybe in slightly different orders, right? You're not going to pay an architect to design 8 different looks of buildings when you know 5 of them are going to be too expensive for you, right? There's certain things we're going to have, clear structure around. But that's kind of what I see. And I think it's going to be actually fun. We'll get into like decision making. We'll get into, here's what we got to do next. And that's where I think the public having our information out there would be great. That's pretty much our agenda. Anything else as far as the vote next November? I know we got like another month to wait at that point, but anything else for topics wise now? And if not, shoot me a note, because candidly, I'm like, let's get this behind us, and then maybe we, I think it's gonna get real busy after that. I hope it does at least.
This is just a timing question. Should we say that as of now, the December meeting is the first Wednesday in December, but we reserve the right to move it to later in the month if we're waiting to hear from the MSBA, because that's going to drive a lot.
Very similar to how we moved this to the 9th, not the 2nd.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So currently I have our next meeting on the 6th of November. Is that so? Any major conflicts? Anybody have that? That was sinister, Leo.
Sounds like the agenda is pretty
Light?
light, we just want to do it tomorrow.
Sure. Happy to do that.
Yeah, I know there's a thought on option too.
Yeah,
I don't know if you need to get someone set up. But I'll probably just try it tomorrow. That's
the option's always there. Why don't we can email too? Like, I'm happy to set up in the conference room. But I really don't want to. If anyone has any last minute discussion points, I always like to have like this talk.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
We're gonna vote
What's that?
for the next meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna
vote, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna vote.
For the next meeting, we're gonna vote. We should. I would say that somebody shows up and wants to speak, they should be able to show.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why I just want to give that option.
Yeah.
So, but you have the option to be remote for sure. Yeah, thank you. And that's actually a great way to.
But that'll be at the public safety building, not
Public
here.
safety building. All right. And if anything comes up communications wise,
Yes.
I'll throw it on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, just, can you put it down anyhow, just because I'm, by then, working with Christine, we'll try to get the whole constant contact thing going, and I'd love to just get thoughts and feedback and stuff, so.
Absolutely. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
No?
Maria?
Teresa James, yes.
Leo Brem, yes.
Michelle Curthia.
Peter Michelson, yes.
Mike Weber, yes.
Yes.
Bob Meany, yes.
Carolyn Casey, yes.
John Cena, yes. Meredith?
Meredith Chamberlain, yes.
Great.
And Mike, we're gonna use the same link,
I'm gonna just get.
so if you just mute it, and then give people time.
For everyone who was here, thank you for your comments. Appreciate you guys coming. And please hop on the website and get all of our information there. It's right on the town stuff. So I appreciate like the input. This is, believe it or not.